Welcome everyone to the first topic on index numbers and price statistics. So I'll start by defining what is an index number. As you know, there are several definitions, but basically an index number is a statistical measure designed to show changes in variable or a group of related variables over time, space, or other dimensions. It expresses levels of quantity or price relative to the base period, usually set at 100. So these definitions have some key issues to consider. First, the index numbers, it shows changes in a variable. It means if you can show the changes of one variable, like income over time, and see the changes of income over time, or a group of related variables. So sometimes we are computing the index number based on the group of related variables, like you have a group of the food items and you want to find the changes over time or over a location, then you can be able to compute the index numbers. And other key issue here also, there is issue of the base period. In order to compute the index numbers, means you need to have the reference period is where you refer. So you should have current period and the base period. And where we set the base, we set here at 100. And then when you compute the index, you'll compare to the change of that value from the 100, either increase or decrease. Let's now see the characteristics of the index numbers. So the first characteristic of the index number, we call the index number as a specialized average. And what does it mean when we talk of the specialized average? So it's not like a normal average. We are computing like a mean age for maybe the variable age or any other the variables. So the index number is always, we express it as a percentage to show the extent of the relative change. So the index number will be computed as an percentage. And this percentage will show now the relative change. Another characteristics of the index number is the index number measures the net change in a group of related variables. So the obtained from the index number will be just a change, either increase or decrease in a group of related variables under study or one variable, depending on the purpose of the index number. The third, also the index number measure the effect of changes over a period of time. Normally, when you compute an index number, you need to have most of them 2 period of times. It means you should have your reference time and the current times. So to obtain from the index number will be just changes over a period of time from the base to the reference. For example, you want to compare the maybe agricultural production. Let's say in 2010 and 2020. So that we can get the effect of changes for those 2 periods, or industrial production, or imports, or exports, or the wages, or any other variable that you need to find the changes. Let's now see the uses of index numbers. We have several uses. of the index numbers. And the first use of the index numbers, we take it as an economic barometers. So use the economic barometer because the index number measures the changes maybe in prices, and we know the prices is one of the key variable in the economic that measure the inflations or deflations. So that's knowing the index number, like consumer price index, you can be able now to measure the economic of the country based on the inflations obtained from the index number. The second, we can use index number in formulating suitable economics policies and planning, especially if you measure the inflation using the index numbers, then these inflations can also decide on the wages of the employees, because the wages of the employees are affected by the inflations. And from the index number, and we can get inflations, and then we'll be able now to see if the wages reflect the current situations in the economy. Also, the index numbers we can use in studying trends. Most of the time when we compute the index numbers, it means you compute based on the time. So it means from the index numbers, you can have the time series data. And when you have time series data, now you can establish a trend of the prices or any other phenomena that you want to study. But also, apart from the studying the trends, also you can forecast. Can use the index number to forecast and know the future of any economic activities that you'll be interested to know based on the index number. Also, the index number we can use to measure the purchasing power of money. The purchasing power of the money you have. You can use the index numbers, because from the index numbers you'll be able now to calculate the real wages, and see if the real wages rising or falling or remain constant. That's the real wages normally obtained by dividing the money wages or nominal wages by corresponding price index. And knowing the real wages, it's used to determine the purchasing power of the money, because the real wages will take into account the inflations of the goods or services in a particular time. Also, we can use the index numbers in deflecting, actually adjusting the wages of living, the cost of living. So it means you can adjust the value of the wages to account for some inflations or transform from the nominal wage into a real wage that account for the inflation of the inflation in that particular country or regions by using appropriately the index number. Then also we have the problems in the construction of the index numbers. This will refer the problems, because what we want in construction of index number, we need to have the index number that will be reliable. So these are the about 8 issues you have to consider when to want to construct the index number. So if you be able now to overcome all of these problems, then you'll have the reliable index number. So the first is the purpose of index numbers to be constructions. So to be constructed. So it means we need now to know the purpose first, and this will help us to know the what kind of index number that we are going to use. The second is selection of commodities, because the index number will be computed based on the items. So you need to select the items to be included in the computations, and this actually will be referring first to the purpose of the index numbers. Then you need to the choice of an appropriate and average, because index number is an average, as I presented earlier. This is of course a special average, but it's still an average. So we need to know which average to be used in the computations. Number 4, the assignment of the weights, because be having selected commodities, and sometimes not all commodities will have the same weight. So it means each items can be assigned different weights. Then you have to the choice of the base period. As you know, the index number will be computed based on the we should have some reference. So we need to indicate the base on the several criteria. Choice of the formula. We have different formulas in computation of the index numbers. So we have to choose how to select the appropriate formulas. And also you should have the data for the index numbers. So we should do data collections. So you should have appropriate data for computation of index number. And the last is the methods of data collections. So we have to collect the data. So we should identify the appropriate methods for data collection. So we'll go one by one, details, discuss these problems of construction of the index numbers. So an index number actually it is designed keeping specific objective in mind. So you need to have specific in mind because this will be very useful a tool to measure economy. So you should first specify the purpose of the index number. For instance, if you want to measure consumer price index, this is the purpose of the index number. I want to measure consumer price index. It means there's no way in your prices to include the wholesale prices. So when we go for the prices, you don't need to go for the wholesale rates of items, because that index number it is for the consumer. So that's maybe retailer prices will be better. Or if you want to compute the index number for the slum colonies, then we don't expect to include the luxury items, because that will be for the maybe high income earners, but for the low income earners, we don't need to expect to include some items which are not really reflecting the class or the group of the people. The second will be selection of commodities. That will be another problem. And after knowing the purpose, then objective for such an index number, then items also should be related to or relevant with the purpose that will be included. Choice of an average also is another problem. Yes, we know it is a specialized average. So we should know which average to use. Most of the time we are using a common arithmetic mean, just being easy to use and maybe to calculate it. So it most of is preferred over as average. but in some cases, maybe geometric mean can be the best. So it depends on the problem you have ahead. Assignment of the weights, as I presented earlier, the goods are not sometimes are not of the same weights in construction of index number. So if you have different items, it is better if you assign different weights. For instance, at household level, let's say you have food items and non-food items. So we're expecting at household level, the food item should be given more weights as compared to non-food items. Also, the issue of the choice of the base year. We need to know which year that will be referring, but this is also very important because it has an effect to the value of the index number. So we have some criteria that normally we use in selecting the base period. The first criteria to get the base period, we said this period that we'll be selecting should be a normal period. Why then? How is a normal period? So I choose the time where this period will be free from all sorts of abnormalities or random fluctuations, such as labor strikes, wars, floods, etc. Like like we had a COVID in 2020, so cannot be a base year because that particular year there is maybe some fluctuations of the prices and other goods. So we don't suggest to use that year as a base year. Then also we need a base that should not be too distant from the current year. It's like now we are in like 2024. If I want to choose a base year, I cannot go for 1980 because between 1980 up to 2024, that's so many years. Maybe there's a lot of things that happen, the policies. So at least we take a reference in the years which are not very far from the current year. And also, we have the data for the index numbers. Also, that's going to be also the challenges. And you should know getting reliable data because the data will be obtained from different areas. You can obtain the data from the market, from the maybe journals or official publications, or from any other areas. But make sure the data that will be used to construct an index should be coming from reliable sources. Then there's a choice of formula. We have different formulas. We'll see in other presentations, other topics. But you need to choose appropriate formula for the construction of index numbers. So it's a problem which formula will be appropriate given the situation you have. But ideally, formula should be appropriate in the computations because the wrong formula will result to unreliable the indexes. Lastly, is the method of data collection has problems in the construction of index numbers. So you should be able now to come up with the appropriate method for data collection. Because if you have appropriate method data collection, it means you'll be able now to get the quality and reliable data for the construction of the indexing numbers. And also we have the classification of index numbers. So index numbers, we classify them in the three areas. The first index, we called the price index. We construct the price index numbers, and the computation based on the prices of the goods or commodities. And also you can construct based on the quantity, using a quantity, that is a quantity index number. Lastly, you can have a value index number that combine the price and the quantity. So the price index number, if you want to compute that, you have shown the ratio between two prices. It's the current time. We compute at let's say time n, so that's the price of a commodity or group of goods at time n. You divide by price at the base the period. And here you can compute the wholesale price or retail price or consumer price index. So those are the price indexes you can compute. Also, you can compute for the quantity index. This will be based on the volume of the production or the sales. So you take quantity at the current time, you divide by quantity at the base or the base time. And also you can compute for the value. And we see the positive value will be combining the price and quantity. So the product for price and quantity. At current time, then we divide by price times quantity at the base period. So this is a summary of the index numbers. And also because in statistics we'll be also focusing on the price statistics. So most of the indexes will be interesting in statistics is index based on the price statistics. And when we refer price statistics as a collection analysis, then the interpretation of data related to the prices of goods and services over time. And basically, when we have price statistics, will help us getting either inflation or inflation in other economic trends. We say it's crucial for understanding how prices change in different sectors of economy, because these prices normally will affect the consumers or the businesses or the policy makers. So the key aspect of the price indices, you normally compute the consumer price index, so that measure change in the price level of market basket of consumer goods and services. Or you can also compute for producer or for the wholesale price, that measures the price changes at the wholesale level before its product reaches the consumers. Thank you for listening, and hope you can review, and more materials attached. You can find them on this online platform for the reference and review questions and assignments to enrich your understanding on the basic concepts of index numbers and price statistics.